Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Derek here.
Courtney here.
And Jason.
We have got a 4-pack of stories with my lovely colleagues here. Let's start off with Justin Bieber. This is wild news. So Justin Bieber is battling face paralysis. This came out of nowhere. He canceled a few shows during a tour and got on, I guess it was Instagram, maybe to talk to his fans. And the right side of his face is noticeably paralyzed. The eye isn't blinking. When he smiles, only one side of his face is smiling. So this is not a prank or anything like that.
I have this syndrome called Ramsay Hunt syndrome. And it is from this virus that attacks the nerve in my ear. As you can see, this eye is not blinking. I can't smile on this side of my face. This nostril will not move. So there's full paralysis in this side of my face. So for those who are frustrated by my cancellations of the next shows, I'm just physically, obviously not capable of doing them.
He's posting about it and says, I have been suffering from something called Ramsay Hunt syndrome, which is essentially a virus has attacked a nerve in his ear, causing facial paralysis. You got a lot of complicated nerves in your face, and he is really struggling through it. He looks... He doesn't look so different. He looks like he's in good shape, except that his face, one half of it, is paralyzed. Now, he said he can't blink. He can only smile with one side of his mouth. He says the whole thing's pretty serious, but he will get back to normal. He just needs time off from work to get healthy and get right.
Like antibiotics that you take?
Well, it wouldn't be biotics because it's viral.
It's antiviral. So he would do something like the viral medications we're seeing with coronavirus and other things, right? It's going to be some sort of a immunotherapy that he's going to have to go through in order to get his body back in shape.
But nerve damage is very serious. This is why nerves don't regenerate like everything else. You get a scrape on your skin, obviously you develop a scab and it grows back, but nerve damage, like why people are paralyzed, it's a little more touch and go. Now, facial nerves can grow back, and he says it's a matter of time, but he doesn't know the timeline. So this is very serious and very surprising. I'm not sure how you contract something like this, but it's a serious disorder.
Well, viruses are contagions like anything else, right? And he got it from somewhere.
He said it was in the ear, right?
It attacked the
virus
itself attacks
okay. I didn't know if it was like from like the earpiece or like something from the concert.
But viruses are very tricky, as Jason said. They're not like antibiotics. You can't just take penicillin and wipe it out.
Right.
It lives in there and it has to go through its course, or antiviral medications can help. But I don't know when we'll see the end of this, or when he'll get even full movement in his face.
It was
back.
really jarring to see the video. It was really jarring to see his face and how contorted his face was, and the paralysis, the drop on the one side of his face was really jarring to see. And you really have to. I've never seen anything like this before. I've never heard of anything like this before. I'm stunned that something like this exists, and that it happens to somebody as famous as Justin Bieber.
And so young.
Yeah.
I've seen Bell's palsy. Ever seen someone with Bell's palsy can get temporary paralysis on their face?
Is that caused by a virus, Bell's palsy?
I
don't know. I had a friend who had Bell's palsy, and their facial movement. Their facial movement came back. I don't think it's viral. I don't know though. I don't know enough about Bell's palsy. But here's what's interesting is Justin Bieber's in his 20s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's in maybe his mid to late 20s. His wife also suffered a health scare. She's in her mid 20s as well. Haley.
Yeah.
And she suffered, what was it, a
stroke?
stroke?
It was like a mini stroke. Yeah, it was like a blood clot.
Are you saying they're bringing this on
COVID.
themselves, Derek?
No, I'm just saying it's shocking to see 20-year-olds suffer from serious medical conditions, and both of them, it's good that they're supportive of each other and they're in a nice, healthy marriage.
Who have access to the best doctor.
Sickness and health.
I'm telling you.
The vowels.
Yeah, this is the sickness part of it, sickness or in health, so it's nice that he has that.
No amount of wealth, right, can account for these kinds of things. No amount of access to doctors can account for these things. Bad stuff happens to good people and to bad people too, but in this case to seemingly wonderful people, and bad stuff happens.
It had to be so scary for him, because like, did he just like wake up one morning and that's like how he woke up, or like did Haley?
If it's a virus, presumably it came on relatively slowly. You start to notice some things, and
go to the doctor.
Go to the doctor. He can't figure out what's happening. He or she can't figure out what's happening because it's obviously a pretty not likely thing to happen. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, it's unlikely.
What's like, yeah.
Does unlikely work for you? It's a
Well,
pretty.
he's in the
It
middle
does
of
sound
a
like a pretty rare disease. I've never heard of Ramsay Hunt. We've been around a while.
Yeah.
This
Well,
could be
he's
a
in the
rare
middle
condition.
of a huge tour right now.
Not anymore. He's
So,
not. So I guess he's putting a temporary hold on that.
Now, look, he's got a lot of money. He's got the best doctors, as you said. These types of diseases don't know social status, but he will be under the best care possible,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
that's good news for him. He's got his supportive wife, so best of luck. I mean, look, I've never been a huge Justin Bieber fan. I've had issues with him throughout the years, but this is obviously he's suffering, and this is not a good thing.
I love your jealousy just makes
Yeah,
you hate
why,
Justin Bieber.
unnecessary
No,
to
I
hear
don't-
that you don't like
Yeah,
Justin
I
Bieber.
know. Pete
Wow.
Davidson, Justin Bieber, Chrissy Teigen. You just have a
Bruce
hate list.
Springsteen for
Yeah,
that.
I've got
Keep throwing them
hater
on.
syndrome for sure.
Uh-huh.
But no, best of luck to Justin Bieber. But let's move on to Amber Heard, who is now speaking out.
Yeah.
Jason, tell us
Amber
about it.
Heard went on the Today Show this morning, was interviewed by Savannah Guthrie, and said a lot of what you'd expect. She sort of professed her, obviously, the fact that she felt that she should have won the trial but didn't, and understands that she took a very moderated approach to the entire thing. I think the big thing that she said that really caught my ear was that she said that even if people think that she is lying, even if people think that she got up there and defamed Johnny Depp and made up the entire thing, she doesn't feel that it justifies the vitriol and the hate that she has gotten on social media. And we have seen this, right? We've
It's
seen in
been
the comments
brutal.
to our stories, the brutality, the hate for her that people are more than willing to come out and put their names on is really remarkable.
They were screaming Amber Turd when she was walking into the courtroom, and
Yes.
they changed her IMDb page to it.
But
It's
Let's
like
hear.
the
Let's
hate-
hear. Let's hear what she has to say, though. Right?
Yeah.
Should we hear from her because her credibility was all on the line during this trial? I want to hear whether she sounds convincing.
I don't care what one thinks about me or what judgments you want to make about what happened in the privacy of my own home and my marriage behind closed doors. I don't presume the average person should know those things, and so I don't take it personally. But even somebody who is sure I'm deserving of all this hate and vitriol, even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation. You cannot tell me that you think that this has been fair.
There's no polite way to say it. The jury looked at the evidence you presented. They listened to your testimony, and they did not believe you.
How could they make a judgment? How could they not come to that conclusion? They had sat in those seats and heard over 3 weeks of nonstop, relentless testimony.
So you
But-
don't blame the jury?
I don't blame them. It wasn't, I don't blame them. I actually understand he's a beloved character.
Like she right there, she says that she gets that based on the weight of the evidence that the jury made the right call. That's remarkable. That's remarkable. I don't think there's any way to
Well, she's saying
Well,
that she thinks they
she
were
gets
maybe
it.
influenced by social media. No,
Well, no, she said. I think she said that there was
knew-
the parade of testimony that came forward, and he's a beloved. That's
But
not
she
the way I
had the
took
same
it.
opportunity to present her
But
her
she's not
evidence.
Johnny Depp. Like, Johnny Depp wasn't, he was Pirates
Yeah.
of the Caribbean. He was like this huge movie star. It would be
I,
like,
I think she's saying they were swayed by his celebrity, not necessarily the weight of the
Oh.
evidence in his favor.
That's
They were
what I was
swayed by the
thinking.
parade of
Okay.
people
And, like, when he was on
seeing Johnny
testimony-
Depp sitting in the courtroom every day with his
to
ponytail and
me-
his candy
To me,
dish.
that doesn't add up. There are other celebrities who have been found liable for similar acts in courts. I mean, I get it. It's always been hard to go after a celebrity, but I don't know if you
but
look
what
at.
celebrities that also had like this like social media behind them? I think it was just like the layering
And
of
also
it.
what celebrities where the issue was entirely based on the credibility of two people. So certainly celebrities have been held accountable in criminal context when there is a weight of circumstantial evidence or direct
Yeah.
evidence other than someone else's testimony. You know, look at Phil Spector was thrown in prison for murder,
Yeah.
but there was evidence that
Yeah.
he had murdered somebody. Here it was the weight of Amber's words versus the weight of Johnny's words, and she's like, I got trounced. He's a lovable character, and I am not.
I think she's
necessarily.
doing a disservice to. I think the takeaway from a lot of people was that she came off as a non-credible witness. And putting aside the celebrity issue of it, like she's not famous, right?
No,
she
she's
had the
definitely famous.
opportunity to
Johnny
put it
Depp
up there.
But she's
It's like-
nowhere
but it's
near
like
the
Tom
Johnny
Hanks,
Depp.
Rita Wilson. Like
But
Tom
I
Hanks is
get-
always
I-
gonna.
If there were
I
Tom
think
Hanks,
you're
Rita
giving
Wilson,
too much credit, but no.
you think she's ahead
Could you
of
pick Rita Wilson out of a crowd? No, I'm not. But putting that aside, I just think
justice for Rita,
it's
man.
I know. I loved her in Frasier.
it's easy. Was she?
Yes, that was their mom.
Couple cameos. in Frasier.
It's easy to just say, look, this is a result of the celebrity of Johnny Depp. I think she's got to take on some of the blame for this whole thing.
But she had witnesses.
Yeah, but they weren't
And he did too.
compelling. And he did too. And they
Yeah.
weren't compelling. They just weren't compelling.
Savannah nailed it. She looked at her and
Yeah.
said, "Look, you had a chance,
Yeah.
and they looked at your testimony. They looked you square in the eye, and
You
they
were
did
lying.
not believe
she
you."
testified for hours and hours, and they didn't believe her.
And that's the jury system.
But
That is
she
how we
already
do.
lost before she got on the stand. It was already so pro Johnny when he was doing his testimony to me.
I think that's
Like,
unfair to the jury.
I know.
These are
Me and you've been going back and forth. I'm just so I don't know. I don't know how either of them won.
well, the big loser obviously was Amber in this trial. The second loser, if you had to have a runner-up loser, is Elaine Bredhoff, the attorney for Amber Rose. The attorney for Amber Heard, and she also was interviewed by Savannah. She also tried to deflect, as she has done, blamed it on social media, but. She really, I think, Derek, what do you think professionally, as we've seen other attorneys in big cases take a giant step forward?
Yes.
I think this
Camille
hurts
just
a
got a
lot.
promotion.
I agree. As much as you, exactly.
Camille just got
was
named
just
partner.
promoted to partner.
Yeah.
Who knows if she'll stay? By the way, she's the hottest commodity ever.
Yeah.
It was the least they could do to try to
Yes.
keep her. But I agree with Jason. So you can either take this huge leap forward or a huge leap back. That's the risk of these big celebrity trials. I think Elaine Bredhoff will not recover her reputation
agree.
after this trial.
Who's going to hire her as a trial attorney?
That's
at this
right.
point?
Now everyone has seen this when she's interviewing for clients. She has to wear that like a scarlet letter.
Yeah.
Here's my question about Amber and Elaine. Now that we're out of the jury system, which she can blame as how is a jury supposed to know what credibility is? They're swayed by the celebrity of Johnny Depp. Is she relieved to be going on appeal? Obviously, it's an uphill battle when you're on appeal, but judges, to their credit, are not as typically influenced by social media. They don't read Twitter as much. They take their job very, very seriously. If she has real issues on appeal, I think this is the forum where Amber Heard can potentially win if there were legal defects in the trial itself. I think there's got to be some sense of relief that I'm not in front of these 7 people anymore,
Yeah.
these ordinary people who love Johnny Depp and probably all love Pirates of the Caribbean, and I'm in front of one old white guy or one old
Well, and
white
that
woman.
won't be shown like how this one. It won't be like live
It won't
streams?
be aired.
Okay.
It'll just be on the briefs. And if there are any legal defects, she'll be able to prevail in some way, even if just to knock down some of the damages.
Although the things that she's appealing seem to have been decided at the lower court by a single judge sitting without an audience. It's as we've talked about, it is such an uphill battle, regardless of the merits or the law of it, to prevail on appeal. Right? There's a great deference given to juries and to trial judges to handle their court and the litigation in the way that they want to, the way they seem fit. And you're going to have to show not only did the lower court make a mistake, but that it impacted the outcome of the trial. And but for that mistake, the outcome of the trial would have been different. That's Amber's burden at this point.
Yes.
Very, very difficult to do.
It's very, very difficult. Elaine has signaled that she thinks the UK trial and the result there should have been more sort of present in this case, and she was restricted from a motion earlier in the case that she wasn't allowed to bring that up. I'm not sure that's enough of a hook to really win on appeal, because I'm not sure that swayed the jury all that much. But we'll see. Look, it's nice to see her out. She is processing all of this. Regardless of what you think of Amber Heard, and I've said this several times, it's hard to not have some feeling on a human
Sympathy?
level for someone who is dealing with all of that vitriol on the internet. It is really damaging to someone's
she had
psyche.
like 5 hashtags in one day that was just like berating her like during like the trial for
It's
like
awful.
6 weeks,
It's
just
awful.
ongoing.
I know.
On a human
people
level,
hate
it's
when we
awful.
say this,
Yeah.
but there's a human level with somebody whose life is her professional life and maybe personal life has now been completely decimated. But if you think that she made the whole thing up, then I guess she got what was coming to her. I guess it's the ultimate
Yeah.
conclusion.
But
Wow.
some
All right,
like
let's
the
move on to
press-
happier
other
news.
broken
Yeah.
families. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Let's move to
I was
another
gonna say
family.
I don't know how happy this is, but Britney Spears' mom, Lynn Spears, finally commented on Britney's wedding. She posted on her Instagram under Britney's wedding photos, and she said, "You look radiant, so happy. Your wedding is the dream wedding, and having it in your home makes it so sentimental and special. I'm so happy for you." but it
I
feels
hate when
fake.
people act as if
I know.
reality hasn't happened
you
in this
weren't
way.
invited.
Don't you?
Yeah.
You were not invited to
invited
your
to the wedding.
daughter's wedding,
Your
which is.
daughter has disowned you as
Yes.
parents.
And
You
you're
wrote
like,
a book.
congratulations, you're blushing bride.
I'm so
Like,
happy
she don't
for
like you.
She don't
Okay,
like,
she
you
made it
would
very
have been
clear.
there if she wanted you there. Your other daughter wasn't invited. No one from the Spears family was there. It's like, why are you even writing on it? This is just to make her look good to the public,
It
and
is-
that's what's even more.
And by the
annoying.
way, to say your wedding is the dream wedding. Her dream wedding, her dream was to have it without you by her side.
Yeah.
You're acknowledging that the dream, part of the dream of this wedding was not
Although,
having your mom and dad
You
there.
could say, look, Brittany, good for Brittany, right?
Absolutely
she's
good for
out of
Brittany.
the conservatorship. She seems to be doing okay. She's got a husband who she clearly loves and who clearly loves her, I think, right? We agree?
I agree.
Okay.
I think, yes.
And she
They're
had a
married.
I don't think
lov-
he's a good enough actor to
Right.
have gotten,
She had
gotten
a
this far.
lovely wedding with lots of friends, and her ex-husband showed up. But
yeah, that was.
but nevertheless, good for her, and maybe that's what Lynn is talking about. Can we give just like she was happy for her daughter, irrespective of her own feelings about it?
But
go
send
ahead.
a text.
Yeah,
Like,
don't
the
do it.
public
what are you
announcement is
doing?
weird.
Yeah,
and the
on
one
her
thing I'll say though,
Instagram page.
it is good when you are the parent, regardless of how old your children are, to take the high road. It wouldn't be good for Lynn to get in the comments and say like, "How dare you not invite me?" It's nice that she's not getting in the muck. Her daughter has very hard feelings towards her. Family estrangement is extremely sad,
Yes.
regardless of if you think Lynn
Yes.
was a bad parent, if you
Yeah.
think Jamie Spears was a bad parent. It's sad to see a family broken like this, and I think she took kind of the high road. I agree. The public part of it is a little bit of her cleansing her own image,
Yeah.
and she could have done this in a private manner. And I
I
think
am
that's part of
surprised Britney
Britney's problem with her
Yeah.
family, as a matter of
Yes.
fact. So I don't think this will
But
ameliorate
They
that.
keep
It'll
just using my
exacerbate
name
it.
and using my name.
I know
Yes.
there aren't just two choices here, but you have Jamie, the father, who hasn't said a word.
Well,
and you
what can he
have-
say?
I don't think Jamie Lynn said anything either.
Yeah,
Did
she
you?
said that she
Oh, did
wishes
you?
her well.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Yeah. And then Lynn comes out and says, I'd rather sort of the public kind of statement of goodwill versus the silent brooding that her father's doing, if I had to choose between the two. They're
Although
obviously the third
although
way to
to
go.
be fair, he's in a different position than Lynn. He is in active litigation with
Yes.
his daughter because
Yeah.
Matt Rosengart is like a dog with a
By the-
bone. We still see
by
these
the way,
documents. Wants to depose him. Like
even-
wants more documents
even
from
more
him.
reason for Jamie to come forward and wish her well.
I
by the way.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. He could be the cooling saucer to all this. Instead, they are at loggerheads.
So did Lynn get her a present?
That's a good question. Did
Because
Lynn buy
I
something
don't
off the
want, like,
registry?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. She sent her a tweet.
She said,
It was-
best of luck to you.
Right.
Here's what I think as a final thought on Lynn and Britney
Yes,
is
Jerry
I
Springer.
think this if I could have my final thought,
Yeah.
I think they will repair this. I think
Well, see,
Lynn
it's
and
interesting
Britney
that
are
they're-
not as fractured
I
as
disagree.
Jamie
I agree,
and
I
Britney.
agree.
Because
And
they're
I
not
think
blocked. If Brittany was really mad at her, she'd be blocked on social media platforms.
I
where
think
she
that's
couldn't even
right.
Comment.
And there's not actively. I think over time this will soften for Britney and they will come together. You know when you're not in contact with either parent, she's gonna feel that loss
Yes.
at some point. And I think if anyone stands a chance, it's Lynn, not Jamie Spears.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that's my thought.
All right, I'm a big theater buff, so Sunday was a big
Oh.
night for the
Big, big
theater
night.
community, right? The annual Tony Awards, no bigger.
My favorite night of the year. Yeah.
Don't mock me. Don't mock me. But the big event of the night was that Paris and Prince Jackson, Michael Jackson's kids, were honored. Right? They honored their father.
Honored their father, yeah.
during the ceremony.
They're both in their mid-20s now, Jason.
That's
Doesn't that blow
wild.
your mind? They were little
It
kids when
blows my- who
Michael
was-
Jackson
Why
passed
wasn't
away.
Blanket there?
Where was Blanket? That's
Still
a good
upset about being
question.
hung over the back.
Maybe, probably.
No, still hard feelings about that. But they're 24 and 25. Remember that his funeral, it was Paris giving the most powerful emotional response,
Yes.
crying on stage. She was
Yes.
a little girl. And it's been a
13
long
Yeah,
time ago.
13.
It's 13 years.
13 years.
Anyway, go on.
Oh, I was done.
Oh, so yeah, they're honoring their father because
Yeah.
his musical was huge. MJ the musical
I mean,
won.
how could that not be a good
I know
musical?
it's tailor made. I mean,
Yeah.
they do all of these rock musicals. We saw it first with like Billy Joel with
But most
Moving
of them
Out
suck.
back in the day.
Most of them suck. I see them
Yes.
all. Most of them suck.
They
This one
seem
was
hastily
really good,
assembled.
right? 10 nominations, 4 wins. This is a big deal.
Here's the strange thing about this one. MJ the Musical is about his life during the Dangerous Tour. Does anyone care about the Dangerous
What
Tour
songs were
versus
the Dangerous
bad? Yeah.
Tour?
Oh, it's Dangerous and
Dangerous
some
was a
others.
jam?
Yeah.
I remember like bad because that was like Billie Jean, yeah.
Well, that was
That's
the
an
height of his
old
power.
one. Yeah.
It should be about everything. Well, maybe not everything.
Who knows? But
Yeah.
so 10 Tony Award nominations. Apparently they won 4 of them. That's a huge sweep.
A lot of people seem to think our dad, Michael Jackson, changed popular music forever. And who are we to disagree? But what people may not know is that he loved musicals, on film and on the stage. That's why we are so incredibly honored to introduce tonight's first nominee for Best Musical, MJ, which, using many of his iconic hits, looks at the complexities and brilliance of our father's process.
This number showcases that creative process as he builds a dance routine step by unforgettable step to one of his best loved hits, drawing on some of the influences who helped inspire his signature style. So it is with our great honor to now introduce Tony nominee Miles Frost and the remarkable cast of MJ.
And to see the two of them up there sort of honoring their father, it's pretty beautiful. Regardless of, Michael Jackson was a complicated figure, but his kids losing their father at such a young age, it's nice to see them come out and
losing
and
their
be
father
honored.
and having the whole thing be such a spectacle for years and years, and a man convicted for killing their father and all sorts of other awful things that they had to endure.
Yep.
They seem to have come out the other side
Yes.
and seem to be good kids against
what we
all
see.
odds, by the way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and some of Paris is a talented kid, right? She's
Yeah, she
acting
has her own,
now.
like,
They sort of
singing
have their
career.
own lives.
Yeah.
Prince is he has his skills as well. I think he does some things. I don't know. He's
Yeah.
not an actor, but we've covered stories on him, and he has they're normal functioning members of society, and that's hard to happen. That's hard.
Yeah, good for the Jackson kids. What I thought best about the Tony Awards is that Jennifer Hudson is now an EGOT winner.
Yes.
She won a Tony last night, and now she is an EGOT. Second African-American woman behind Whoopi Goldberg. I love it.
This is wild to me. So an EGOT is such a towering achievement.
yeah.
There
Just
are
in case people
very
don't
few
know,
people. That's
it's 4 awards.
Yeah.
You have the Emmys, Grammys, Oscar, and Tony. You have to, there's the EGOT, the acronym. And it's only
it's maybe
dozen
two
or
handfuls,
people
yes.
It's not that many.
that have done it
in
yeah.
history.
In
And
history.
some of them go back to the 20s.
And by the way, if you rule out the honorary awards, right, the people that get the
even
honorary
smaller.
Oscar at the end of their career, it's this really small cabal of people.
And she was a
American
contestant
Idol.
on American Idol. It is such a come
A
up.
losing contestant.
A losing contestant. I think she came in 6th place.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't even
Something.
close. But she's had such a tremendous career. It's a huge, huge accomplishment. She's in there in the
I love
in the
it.
same breath as Rogers and Hammerstein, people like that. It's
Well, Whoopi
wild to
Goldberg-
me.
Goldberg is the
Whoopi Goldberg, John Legend, Audrey Hepburn. I mean,
Yes.
she is in a constellation of characters that are monumentally famous. Now, think of the people who haven't won it, like Meryl Streep and people like that. Don't have EGOTs. This is a huge, huge accomplishment.
And she's
yes,
so
but
young.
Meryl Streep hasn't really put out many albums.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
Listen,
it'd be
time
hard to win the
to
Grammy.
drop a spoken word or something, Meryl.
I don't know that the fact that Meryl doesn't have a Grammy means that.
It means that Jennifer Hudson is better than Meryl Streep. That was the
you
only
get it?
argument I was trying to make, and I
mean,
think I've solved
Beyonce's
it.
not an EGOT winner.
That's
Just
true.
saying.
That's true. But you see a lot of people chase it sort of very specifically when they get close to it. They'll have 3 out of the 4 awards.
Right.
Barbra Streisand, I think, has one, but one is honorary.
One
is that right?
honorary,
Yeah.
right.
And so you've seen sometimes they'll try to chase a serious movie if they need the Oscar or
The
throw out
Oscar's
a
the hardest
Grammy
thing to get,
award.
though, right? The Oscar's
The Oscar's
hardest.
tough.
would
Once you
say.
have the Oscar, the others can fall
Yeah,
into
yeah,
place.
yeah.
But it doesn't seem like she was chasing it. She's also very young.
She's so
Jennifer
young.
Hudson could have gotten this over her lifetime. She's what, in her
I'm saying
Maybe
early 40s,
30s,
late 30s?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
This is really, really young to get it. A lot of people get it later in life. This is
Quite an
awesome.
accomplishment.
It's,
and
it's
she's
absolutely awesome.
despite the American Idol failure, I guess she's immensely talented.
Immensely talented.
None of this is honorary stuff. This is all worked for.
This
Yeah.
is legit.
Is that how you place them on your mantle? Is in the order of the EGOT? Is that how you would do it?
Oscar's number 1.
Oscar's number 1.
I think the
over,
Tony, you
Andy.
just sort of drop off the side of the mantle. You just have your ego
Paperweight?
up there. Yeah.
I guess maybe it depends what you want it for, right? Best
It
actor,
does.
supporting actress for the
Yeah, that's
Oscar.
true.
But what did she win the?
Here's how you
Emmy
know what's
for?
the most important of an EGOT. We all know what she won her Oscar for. It was Dreamgirls, and it
Yeah.
was many, many years ago. Can anyone name her Emmy, her Tony, or her Grammy? Probably not.
No.
It tells you how those
And
awards.
she just won the Tony last night.
I still couldn't tell you. Was it Dreamgirls 2? The Tony? So that'll do it for us. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Check out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify.
YouTube if you want.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Take care,
See ya.
everyone.
Bye.